Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Thompson again. Today we are going to draw a landscape, and through our landscape we're also going to learn about foreground, middle ground, and background. We've talked about it a little bit at school, but not a whole lot. And we also talked about this indirectly when we learned about the elements of art, and we talked about space. And remember, you went out in the hallway and you had to take a picture that demonstrated space. Foreground, middle ground, and background comes from space, because the foreground is the space that's closest to you, the middle ground is the space that's in the middle, and the background is the space that's farthest away. Okay? And hopefully that'll make a little more sense as we begin drawing it and creating it. Now for this picture, you want your paper going up and down where it's tall and skinny. I'm going to be drawing with a Sharpie. You could draw with a pencil, a pen, a regular marker, whatever it is you have, you can draw with it. I just personally prefer the Sharpie because it saves that step of having to trace over your pencil. But if it makes you a little nervous, the thought of doing that, there's nothing wrong with starting with pencil. Alright, so first we are going to draw the horizon line. And this is where the sky and the ground meet or touch. Now if we look at the middle of our paper, it would be right about there. And this is going to be just almost the middle of this bottom half, but a little higher. So I'm going to draw a line that goes from one side to the other. And as always, I'm not trying to be perfect. Then I'm going to draw what looks like a little road or a path coming down towards the bottom of your page. Or maybe not really towards the bottom, because it is just flat out going to the bottom. Now what happens to the width of our road as we go down? Yes, it gets larger or it gets wider, and that is part of space. Things that are closer to you look bigger, and things that are farther away from you look smaller. All right, now we're going to draw some trees, and these are going to be just some simple, basic trees. I'm going to draw a little tree trunk here, and a little tree trunk over here. And we're not trying to make anything big or fancy. This is nothing that's going to win an art show or anything like that. I'm just going to kind of draw the top of my tree. And the top of your tree. Now, if you want to draw your tree a different way, go for it. You do not have to draw your tree the same way I did. Now I'm going to draw a house. So first I'm going to draw what you would call the facade of the house. That's kind of a big word. That is the front of the house. When you drive up and you first see a house, that's what you see. And now I'm going to draw a little door. And doors are usually the shape of a rectangle. Okay. Then I'm going to add another little line over here. And it's kind of like a line that's just there for no reason at all. And then right here at the corner of this, I'm going to make a line that comes up at an angle and then comes down to meet right there. Then I'm going to draw a little square. This is going to be a window. Then right here, I'm going to make a line that comes out straight. Notice it is not as long as this one. And the reason I do that is because I'm going to bring this line down at an angle to show the other side of the roof. Okay. If you want to draw little shingles, you can. You do not have to. I like kind of just loosely sketching it in there. So just kind of suggest that, but it's not too rigid. Okay, now we're going to draw what's like a second horizon line. So this is our horizon line, but because we're going to have some space in the middle, that's our middle ground, we're going to make another line. So it's going to come right here behind the trees, but notice when I got to the tree I stopped. I'm not going to draw that line through the tree because the tree is not made out of glass. So I pick up on the other side and I keep that line going. And it's just right above that tree. But if it would have been a little lower, I would not have drawn through the tree. I would have done the same thing I did over here. Okay? And so this is just going to be kind of like, you know, sometimes you can see the land kind of far off in the distance. That's what this is eventually going to become. Next, we're going to put some hills up here. Like they are really far away. I'm going to make them a little jagged, not too horribly jagged. Actually, I did kind of make it really jagged, but oh well. And then I'm going to make this one come up the opposite direction. Maybe this is somewhere in Colorado or something near the Rocky Mountains. And so these are my mountains off in the distance. Then, in the sky, I'm going to make a little cloud. And this one's a little different than the one we did on our dog picture. It's kind of going off the edge of our paper there, and that's a good thing. I'm going to maybe do another one over here. Like you can barely see it. It's just coming up off the paper. Maybe one here. Okay, but we don't want to go too bonkers with the clouds. Okay, and I'm not going to draw a sun in the sky. This is the time of day where the sun maybe is right up above us, right in like around noon. We're not going to have a sun or a sunset or any of that stuff. Okay, now I'm going to go in and I'm going to add a few little touches and colors. So first I am going to take, now if you only have a pencil or Sharpie or what have you, you do not have to do exactly what I'm doing. You can add things differently. But I do happen to have a green Sharpie. So I am going to go through and draw some little blades of grass. Now notice my blades of grass that are towards the bottom, and then they go up a little. What happens to the size as they get higher? Yes, they get smaller because things that are closer to you look bigger and things that are far away look smaller. Okay, I'm also just going to add a few little green dots just for interest. It's not going to look photorealistic or anything, and I'm okay with that. I'm just trying to snazz it up a little bit. Okay, then I'm going to take another green. This one is a lighter green from the one I just used. And again, if you don't have different shades of green, don't panic. It's totally fine. Just use what you have. That one was a little big. I don't know why I did that, but oh well. Okay, and I'm going to add a few more little dots here and there. Okay. And then we have our little path here. This is going to be like a dirt road. When I was a little girl, my family lived in West Texas. I was out near Lubbock, and we had a lot of dirt roads out there. And if you've never been down a dirt road, we don't have a lot of them here. It's a very different experience. But I am going to take my brown marker and I'm just making some little dots. There tends to be like gravel and rocks and things like that on a dirt road. I'm not trying to make it super realistic. I'm just kind of giving it some touches. I'm doing a brown, I'm doing an orange because I don't have different shades of brown. So I'm just going to throw in some oranges. And there goes my dog barking because he wants inside. Connor?
Yes?
Can you let Milo in, please? Alright, so there, and again, it's just kind of a little touch. Now, I need to do something with this grass that's kind of off in the distance. That's just a grassy field that's kind of far away. So I am going to take my greens again. I've got a regular green, I've got a bright kind of lime green, and I've got a seafoam green. You're hearing all my animals on this video. I'm going to start with this green. And because this is different, I'm just going to just kind of do some little lines. If you've ever been on a farm where the tractor tills it, you can see the little lines kind of off in the distance. So maybe that's what this can kind of be. So there's my lime green. I'm going to do a lighter green. This kind of a seafoam. Right. And then my darker green. The darker green's kind of the boss. He's what's going to tie it all together. He's the guy in charge. So now that way, you notice I did the lines, here I did the blades of grass and dots, but that way it helps you see that this is the foreground, this is what's closest to you, and this is the middle ground. All right, so now I'm going to continue on with adding some color. I think I am going to go to my two trees here. And I'm going to use brown. Now I have two different kinds of Sharpies. When we're through with all of this, you know, staying at home and trying to be healthy and you go to the store again someday. And there's two different kinds of Sharpie. There's traditional Sharpies like we're used to, and there are these brush Sharpies. They're kind of like a paintbrush and you can move it. These are really cool, especially for when you're coloring. But I'm going to use it to color my tree trunks in. And again, I'm not trying to be perfect. Okay. Then I'm going to color the tops of the trees. Now I don't want to do green because I already have a ton of green. I want to do something different. So I am going to color this tree yellow. Like maybe it's fall. And maybe this is somewhere up in the country where they actually get fall. It doesn't just go from hot to cold. So that's yellow. And if you notice, I'm kind of coloring and almost swirling motions because that helps give it the look of the bushiness of a tree. Okay? But again, it's not scribbling. Now over here, I'm going to use an orange one. And again, these are those brush ones. And again, I'm kind of coloring in the direction, if I could picture what the shapes of it would be like on a real tree. So I'm not scribbling, I'm not doing this. I'm doing it in kind of a circular motion. Kind of like if you've seen the movie Karate Kid, wax on, wax off. It's kind of like that, but it's marker on, marker on, marker on. Your parents would get that more than you. All right. Now I'm going to color the roof of my house. And I have this kind of beigey Sharpie. No idea what it's gonna, oh, that looks cool. I like it. I had no idea what I was gonna end up with. I just took a chance there. Okay. And then I am going to color my house. Let's see, here's our choices. We could do kind of a purplish color. We could do kind of a bluish color. Or we could do a pinkish color. What color do you guys want? Just kidding, I can't hear you. I'm gonna go with blue. And I'm gonna color my house blue. I did a lighter blue so it wouldn't be so dark and end up looking almost like black. And when my family and I went on spring break, we went to Louisiana and we rented a little house out in the country that looked a lot like this. And it was kind of a bluish gray. It was so neat. And they had big pine trees in the backyard and they had bald eagles nesting in it. There was a mommy eagle and a daddy eagle and little baby eagles. We couldn't see them because they was on a huge pine tree that was really, really tall, but we could hear them. You could hear them like the mom and dad would go hunting, and then you could hear the babies crying, and one of them would fly back and perch on a branch right above them and look at them like, you're fine. But it was really neat getting to be around that. I took some pictures of it. I'll be sure and find a way to show you. So now my little house is blue. I'm gonna color the window yellow, like there's a light on inside. And then the door, I'm gonna make the door Now again, just like always, you can make this stuff any color you want. You do not have to do it the way I'm doing it. Okay. All right, now we need to do something with our mountains or our hills. Now, a lot of times, something that's kind of old-fashioned, and it's a little cheesy, but people have been doing it for years and years and years, is coloring mountains purple. Because it just kind of suggests that it's at a higher altitude. And sometimes when you see mountains in real life, they kind of look a little bit purple when they're really off in the distance, but the purple is kind of a stretch. But sometimes it's okay to be a little cheesy in your art, as long as you're having fun. Now again, notice I'm not coloring but I'm not scribbling either. I'm thinking that, what would a mountain be made out of? If I could hike all the way out here and be standing right next to this mountain or right on this mountain, what would it be made out of? And hopefully you said rocks, because it would. And so rocks would have kind of, your lumpy, bumpy shapes. Kind of one running into the next and on top of and in front of the next. So that I'm trying to kind of create that texture a little bit, because you're going to see the brush strokes from this. And this purple's trying to dry out on me a little bit. I'm trying to get it where it'll at least make it to the end to finish this. And so now I have my mountains, okay? All right, next I'm gonna color the path. Now I'm gonna go to my colored pencils because I still don't have crayons here at home. I did order some on Amazon, and hopefully they will be here really soon. So obviously I need a brown one, and I'm gonna pull out this beige one, okay? And I'm actually going to start with the beige. I'm going to color up and down. And of course I'm trying to color neatly. I'm trying to color nicely. Hopefully you have paper under yours to protect your parents' tables and furniture, depending on where you're working. And what's really cool, because I'm using this pencil, I can still see my little marker dots that I did. I can color right on top of them. If you try to color around these little things, you're gonna drive yourself crazy. Don't do that. Okay, now, this is the point where if we were at school, a lot of you would tell me, done! But look at all that white here, okay? There's even some white here and here. So I am not done. Keep coloring over that because I'm down on the edge. You do have to be careful. But see, because I have this paper under it, I can bring my pencil down and just let it go off the edge because it's just going to get on the other piece of paper. And that way I can color it. I'll go back over here and color over this a little more and just try to even it out where I don't have those little white spots. Okay? All right. All right, now I'm gonna go in with my brown and I'm gonna go over it. And I'm just kind of coloring soft and light and gentle, kind of going up there. I need to try to be more careful. Now notice I kind of messed up here, but I'm not freaking out, I'm not crying. I am going to see if maybe an eraser will erase it. A little bit. Very nice, I lucked out there. But I kept it together, I didn't freak out or anything. I know how hard it is sometimes. You picture how your art's going to look in your head, and then you start working on it, and it's not what you were planning on. It's not what you were picturing. And it can be very frustrating. But you have to learn how to deal with that feeling and move forward and not fall apart, cry, or get mad. You just gotta go, okay, all right, this happened. What can I do to make it work? What can I do to fix it? and then you'll have a much happier life. All right, so now I have kind of a combination of the brown and the beige. All right, so I'm going to leave the road alone now. And now I am going to move on to my grass. I have a darker green and I have a lighter green. And let's see, I am going to start with I'm trying to decide. I'm going to actually go with my middle ground here. And if you haven't figured it out, this is your middle ground, where the trees and the house and this. So I'm going to take my lighter green. Now I'm coloring side to side. I can go right over those lines in the grass. I'm not going to go over my tree though. Can you think of why I would not want to go over my tree? Hopefully you said it's because you would see it on that yellow, and yes, that is true. And same thing with the orange tree. Even though orange is a little darker, you don't want to go on top of it because you could see it. I don't want to go on top of my house. I'm going around my house. The only thing that would be okay to color on top of right now are those green stripes because it's part of the grass. I'm coloring the grass and those green stripes are part of the grass. Just like when I was coloring the road down here, and these little dots, they're supposed to be rocks, they're part of the road. Hopefully that makes sense. And I'm coloring over here. I really like the way this green is turning out. I did order some crayons on Amazon. I ordered some crayons, I ordered some crayon markers. I'm hoping they'll get here soon. I got a package just a few minutes ago before I started this video. I went down to our little mail room. I live in an apartment and we have this mail room where it has a little wall with a machine and you put a code in it and it opens up a locker door and you can get your package. It's really cool. But I went down there hoping it was my Crayola stuff, but it was a water filter. Not quite as exciting and doesn't really affect you guys, but at least my family will have nice clean water and they don't have to go out and buy a bunch of water bottles. But maybe tomorrow they'll show up. One thing that did show up that affects you guys, I ordered some weaving loops and that showed up. So I can make a weaving video. If you don't have some at home, do not tell your parents you need to go to the store, because you don't. If they're cool with you ordering it on Amazon, go for it. And if they're not, don't hassle your parents. Okay, now I'm going to color this part of the grass with my darker green. And I am going to, I think I'm going to try coloring like an angle, side to side. Okay, but I'm going to hit stop just for a minute so I can sharpen this pencil. Okay, so now I am going to color. I'm just coloring softly. I'm coloring at an angle. And I'm doing this just to make it a little more interesting because if everything is the same direction and the same texture, the picture can get a little blah. Now again, I feel like I say this every time we do something, but it's important. You do not have to color your stuff or design or decorate it the same way that I do. You can do anything you want. If you want pink grass, you can have pink grass. That's the best thing about art. There are no wrong answers. You can do anything. When I was in college and I was an art major, we would joke around a lot about how we could take almost anything and say it was art. For example, I could take this cup and go, put it on a table and go, that's art, that's my new sculpture. You know, we joked around, because sometimes you will see stuff like that where artists kind of push the limit a little bit. But that's the best thing. It's just, it's open, it's free, you don't have to be stressed because you're worried you're going to be wrong or you're going to do something that people are going to make fun of you for. You can just be yourself and relax. And then if it doesn't turn out, even if your picture is a disaster, you just do it again or you do something else. So far, I'm pretty happy with how this is turning out. I wasn't quite sure what to expect with it because I was kind of making it up as I went along. I'm pretty happy, and I cannot wait to see what you guys come up with. Now, we did update our enrichment website. There is one page that's just for my class. It's called Masterpiece Monday. Now, you can do all your art stuff on Mondays if you want, or you can do it all throughout the week. But we decided we kind of needed to pick a day, and Mondays is mine because we're calling it Masterpiece Monday. All right, now I am going to switch to light blue to color the sky. If you have a sharpener at home and you're using colored pencils, that does help a lot. Now I'm going to turn this upside down to color the sky. It's just easier to reach. All right, anyway, back to my web page. It's called Masterpiece Monday. You click on it and you'll see all my videos. If you're watching this one, there's a really good chance you've already been to that site. But there are also links for Flipgrid. Miss BF set up a Flipgrid for the whole school. There's one for 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, kindergarten, every grade. And on it, I'm doing a Flipgrid for each project. So when you're done, you can either take a little video of yourself with your art to show me, or you can take a picture of it and put it on Flipgrid to show me. If for some reason you just can't do the Flipgrid, you can always take a picture and email it to me. It's Nanette Thompson at misdmail.org. And I love to see your art. Since I can't see you guys in person right now, I love seeing your art. It really makes me happy. And if I'm feeling a little sad from not being able to go to school, it cheers me up. Oh, look at that. Isn't that amazing or what? And yours is probably going to be 10 times better. So I can't wait to see it. Be sure you put it on Flipgrid. If you're watching this video, hopefully that means you've already done the sunset, you've already done the dog, and you've already done the fox. And next we're going to do a cupcake video, how to draw a cupcake. And those will be our videos for the first week of our art at home. It gives you one for each day of the week, or like I said, you can just crank them all out at once depending on how you want to work on it. I also added some Art Hub for Kids on there that I thought was fun, and I added a video from one of my art teacher friends. Her name is Miss Wallace, and she's from Ponder, and she's amazing, and she did a really cool project with cats, so that gives you something else to do too. So take care, stay safe, stay healthy, and I will talk to you soon.